Hey, welcome back, guys. This is Lee from Reefer Explained. Today we're going to be doing a quick talk on RO systems, why they're important and what's needed for them. So anyone starting new to the hobby and you've just tuned into this channel and you're getting a reef tank, when you're making the water, you want clean zero TDS water. So you can only really do this by buying your own RO system. You can buy pre-mixed salt water at the store, or you can pick up RO water from the store. Usually 9 times out of 10 they won't replace their cartridges or as quick as they need to, so it won't be 100% zero TDS. Now the reason for the zero TDS is you want a blank canvas of water, so that when you add the salt and it's mixed, you don't have any impurities from your general water supply. When you measure with a TDS pen, which is basically a digital pen that you can buy from Amazon, it's called TDS, Total Dissolve Solids. This will measure how much stuff is in your water. So usually in the UK, ours is like quite high, at like 380, 400. And all of that stuff will have a major impact on your livestock, your corals, your algae blooms, diatoms, things like this, because it's just got loads of nasties in there. So you want to filter that out to be as zero as possible. So what we picked up is this here. So this is by TMC. It's a pure RO system at 50 gallons per day, and that's enough for me. I've got one of these already, and the reason I bought this I'll go into a little bit more in depth. These are the canisters. So a 5 micron pre-filter, so this is what it goes through first. Then it will go for a carbon block to remove any extra things that are in the water. This is for the beginning and this is at the end. You'll have a third stage, which is your resin beads for your DI. Now these beads are in orange color usually, and they may change color, get less bright over the period of you using them. What they're doing is, in another chamber, they would polish the water off, leaving 100% zero TDS. Now with this 2-stage plus the membrane, so pre-stage and carbon, fucking phone. So as I was saying before, there's 2 stages, just as it is on this box. Pre-stage is the pre-filter, 5 nylon sock, and the second one is the carbon block. The top, this part here, is the membrane, and that is really going to last you maybe a couple of years depending on how much water you're using. That's kind of for the major particles coming through, and it needs flushing constantly. Now with the DI resin that I mentioned, this is exactly what it looks like. It goes in another chamber on top, and that will polish the water off to zero TDS. Now you can buy this from your local fish store, you can buy it online. The best places I found is eBay, because you get the best bang for your buck, and it's a lot cheaper. And I usually buy, I believe it's a couple of litres, 2 or 3 litres at a time, and it costs me I think around 10 to 14 pounds. If you buy it from local fish store, it's usually 1 litre and it's about 12 pounds. So the math to me does quite well. I just keep it zip tied up and then just put this in. You want to wear gloves when putting this in to a chamber. So now the reason for this new purchase is I have a TDS, a reverse osmosis system, but the main issue is that it started to show signs of wear and tear, which I'll explain when I pull that one out for you. So here is the reverse osmosis system. We're just going to move the camera down so you can see this, and I'll explain a little bit more. So this is the RO system by TMC. Now, all RO systems will do exactly the same thing. It just depends on how many stages you want it to go through to get there. So this is a clear housing. You can see when it gets dirty, but more than anything else, you want a TDS meter on your system, which we have one. Not on this system, but on my old system. And I'll use some of those components to go forward with this. This is the membrane you get. It's sealed, vacuum sealed, and it will have to go inside this housing here. And as I said, once it's in, it will last a good couple of years, and then you know you're good on that. The way you would clean that membrane inside is you would flush it by turning this and it for a couple of minutes at a time after each use, and then put it back. With the TMC, you'll get all of the connections in here. And that will just be, the red is the waste cable, RO tubing, the white is the connection between, and the blue is the clean water coming out. Now, with this, you don't get any of the turn off system, so the water will constantly drip out of the system. So you'll need to buy those as well online, which you can do. You'll get a mechanical, it's like basically a tool that will undo these chambers for you. And I'm going to show you my old RO system and why I've had to replace it. Now, it's been 5 years, so really I've done quite well, but it was a issue on my side because I did the upgrades to the resin chamber. I did a dual resin chamber, which really probably is not needed. It's just a backup in case one is depleted, and then the second one would pick this up. The issue is that it was dripping onto this it looks like plastic, but basically this is metal and it's coated in like a plastic seal, but this has all come away and caused rust. So I'll grab that for you now. You can see side by side, and I'm gonna come a bit closer and show you what I've done. So you've got stages 1 and 2 and the membrane, but on top here is just basically two pods that are clamped on with these clips, and then they're connected by each other. So it looks like a whole heap of mess, but I assure you it's not. So if we take this cable off, the red is the outgoing, which now I've put these closures off, so that opens the water and that closes, and you want them on each part. This part is the fresh water going in, the white, open and close as well, so that, and this will go on your shower part where your shower comes off, or you can go on underneath a stopcock under the kitchen sink and you're good to go. And the blue is obviously the clean water out, and again, got ball valves on those. You can buy these online. This part here, if I can bring this up to show you, this is a TDS meter by Auto Aqua. It plugs straight into the blue, clean water coming out, so I can see that it's 0 TDS. And turn off, it's operated by battery. These are the DI chambers that you'll replace when you don't get 0 TDS anymore. And chambers 1 and 2, pre-filter and carbon, you'll need to replace every 6 months. Sometimes people will leave them a year, but again, it depends on your reading. I just like to change them out every 6 months because they cost me around £7 for the 2 chambers to be replaced, and I just rather know that they are clean and I'm good to go. Going back to the topic at hand, the reason I replaced the unit, as you can see all of this rust, it's all chipping away and there's bits of rust in here that may be leaching into these chambers or into my RO system, which I do not want to happen. So I ran a ICP test, and it did come up with some issues with metals in my tank, or aluminium, copper, iron, some other bits and pieces that may have come off, rusted magnets. So I went through my whole system to look. I replaced an impeller that may be old. I replaced, I took out the ATO magnet that was sealed, but I put that on the outside of the glass, and then I just went through all of the equipment to make sure nothing else was leaching. The only other thing I can think of is the RO system, and that did come up on the ICP report that it possibly could be an RO system that's causing an issue. So I've done a bunch of water changes. This was a while back, and I've been running some Cubisorb by I think it was C-Chem in a bag. Basically that will remove any heavy metals, but going forward I really wanted to replace this. So what I will do is I will keep the ball valve unions. I will throw all the cables away because I've got new tubing now. I will take off the TDS meter and put it on the new system, and I'll upgrade one of these chambers off and basically put it on the new housing, so we are good to go. If there's anything that I've missed, let me know, but usually a 25 litre drum will take me around anywhere between 5 and 6 hours to make up a full drum. So usually that will be enough for me for top off water for the week, or at least 10 days, let's say. And if I'm making a water change up, then I need 2 of those, which is around 50 litres, maybe a bit more, which will take me a day and a half, but I usually do them in 2 lots. So you can get away with a 50 gallon per day. It just depends on how much water you need and what size tank you have. Now you can go for a bigger stages to have 2 of these pre-filters, 2 of these, have 2 of these on top as well, and the system would be bigger, but for me, I just don't need this on my current setup. This works well for me. You also haven't talked about, you also have a gauge here, and this is running it apparently anything but just around 40 to 50 psi is good, which means it's working efficiently. Anything drops below 40, then you might need a booster pump, which can connect to the system via the mains, and then it will pull the water quickly through. You can house the unit as well with these parts here, but for me this basically sits in my tub and basically connects to my water supply for my shower connection, and then I leave my container in there as well. That way if I leave it on and it overflows, it just goes into the tub. So a little tip for you if you're struggling for space, because if you leave it outside where the washing machine is or connected, most likely you'll end up with a flood. These chambers come off pretty easily, but they are tightened on by the actual part, but this one is not, so it's come off. And basically when you start up the system, you'll probably want it to run a good few litres or so before you actually use that water. So even though the blue, you just want to use it as waste, so just run it through, let all the impurities from the polishing of the RO unit and the socks go through. This is what they look like. It's just a chamber, fits in there. You slot a new one in, goes back up into the housing, and you're good to go. So if you're a new person and you're looking for an RO system for home, it's very simple to do. As I said, if you look at my old system here, you've got the red for the waste, just leave it in the drain area. The blue will go into the clean container, and the white is connected with, you can buy these push fittings, you don't get it with the unit, but buy a plastic one, and then you'll come with a grommet which goes inside here, and that fits straight onto your shower part. This way it's just a lot easier. You don't want to get a metal one just in case it leaches or anything, and they're usually for gardens outside. Apart from the flushing on this system here, which is just this black nozzle for 2 minutes at a time after you finish using, that's about it for this episode. But as I said, you really want to test with 0 TDS, get a TDS meter or a pen. You can buy one of these inline, I believe TMC use one as well that you can buy with the unit, so it's a bit more expensive. But for me this works well, and I think the costing was around £95 for this unit to replace. So I think 5 years I've done well. This one should last a lot longer. I'll look after it a bit more. Plus now the ball valves are in place so there's no dripping, and it just goes away in a bag in a cupboard once I've finished. And then when I connect it, I let that water run for a good 5 minutes to get any 0 TDS creep out of the system. So it's been sitting there, so basically you're flushing it through, and then you're good to go. So if you have any questions about RO systems, you found them, you thought they were complicated, or you're using normal tap water, don't use tap water. It's not safe because it could cause major issues in the system. Anyone wondering how the system is currently doing? Yep, it's doing really well. There's no lens on this at the moment. I'm just showing you how it's looking. The only thing I've just lost, unfortunately, is a hairy pincushion urchin. He got trapped on the elegance corals. So if you have elegance corals in your tank, anything that gets trapped on them, they will suck the life out of them, and he died. I only had him a week, really annoyed, but I have a tuxedo in here and he knows to stay away from them, and everything else is doing pretty a-okay on the tank. For now, I'm just letting everything grow in. I think I'm gonna start doing a back wall scape, like gluing frags, basically like Monty's, encrusting types on the back wall. Let me know what your thoughts are, and thanks for watching on this video today, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks.